The news is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Ramney Tertola P Park, NV Salon, Nail Spa and Barbershop, Tisley Cross Deliciously Smooth Cider, and Digicel, simply more speed, reliability and entertainment. A panel of 6 community-minded entrepreneurs in the Virgin Islands were voices of wisdom to especially prospective and young entrepreneurs in the territory. Businessman Mr. Clarence Faulkner, Dr. Shakima Bruley Otley, Miss Alexandra Durant, Mr. Sinclair Fleming, Mrs. Shayna Smith Archer, and Mr. Shea Alexander.
A lot of times you may see someone start a business and you feel like you want to do the exact same thing. Don't be afraid to diversify the economy. We keep on saying it. We expect the politicians to do it. We expect the government to make it happen. But that's an individual decision. So the persons who are starting up businesses, you see something that somebody else is doing, try your best to be different. There's so many different holes to plug. I mean, for me, as a dermatologist, I am opening up my second practice in a little while where it is dedicated to scalp and hair. Again, focus on your own business. I like to say, mind your business and innovation will soon follow. If you would just focus on whatever it is you set out to do, you will find there's a unique idea that only you can bring to the table.
So the question now becomes, how do you differentiate yourself in the financial world from thousands, millions of other financial services firms if you are planning to tap into the market? So you differentiate yourself by selecting a specific route or niche, as Doc says, as it relates to making sure that even if somebody tries to copy you, what are they going to do? Play catch up. Right? So how do you differentiate yourself from not only your colleagues here in BVI, but around the world, around the region, that when you put your information out there and say, this is the reason why you should use your services, it's easy for them to identify what are the differentiators in that equation or that analysis to say, that's the company we want to use.
Because niche is good if it can be sustained. So you are right. If you just basically start something and you become so tunnel vision that you don't see other opportunities for expansion, then again, you're not doing business, you're hustling. You know, so it's important as a business owner, when we do our business plans, we don't just say we're gonna live and die by this, because business is a cycle. So there's always going to be that place where your business actually will plateau. And, you know, we know of businesses that 50 years ago, they were the thing. You know, where is Blockbuster now? Where is Kodak? Because they became so focused and hyper in what they were doing, they weren't looking at what was happening in the industry, right? So digital photography was coming on stream and they were bent on, you know, film. And it basically, you know, it can and won't leave them. So yes, you can become hyper-focused, but it's something that it's a lesson learned for business owners to remember. Your business plan is something that it's evolved, and it evolves with the industry, it evolves with you.
I used to sell bags. They used to range from $250 to $400. And I had a client that kept saying she wanted a blue bag. She's very particular, but she is, at the time, not knowing what money was, she was a high-value client. And I kept looking, and I said to her, you know something, I was starting to get very annoyed because I was like, listen, blue is blue, I've sent you blue bags, just choose one or leave me alone. But of course, I kept walking with her very professionally. And then one day I said to her, you know, honestly, I'm not seeing any bags in the range that you want. And that was when, and this is a question that changed my business. She said, when did I tell you what my range was? Then that same evening, I sent her a Dolce & Gabbana bag. It was $2,300, and she bought it on the spot. And then she paid me before I even ordered it. So we have to, and I talk a lot, or I used to talk a lot on my Facebook about racism. I've toned it down. And I remember somebody telling a friend of mine, tell your friend to relax because he's not going to sell, because I just started into the luxury bags. So these are bags from $1,000 to like $3,000. He's not going to sell them to the white market if he speaks about racism. I said to him, as much as I love all of my customers, most of my customers at the time were black women with local last names who live and work and exist right in this territory. And I have people that spend like $2,000 a month on handbags. So the market is there. Oftentimes, because of the lack, what we built into our culture is if you want something, you travel to go and get it. So as entrepreneurs, the onus is on us. I'm going to Puerto Rico this weekend because I want to see Black Panther. That's the only reason I'm going. Nobody here has it. So somebody has to say at some point, how many people are traveling because they want to watch movies?
Other younger entrepreneurs trying to get into the game, I would say, try to figure out what your planning is. Try to figure out who your friends are, as she said. Figure out who you can trust, right? Sometimes you need a soundboard to kind of get your ideas off. And I know earlier I said your ideas aren't worth anything, but a lot of times in the BVI where we conflate the two is that we go to the bar and we tell your friends or your colleagues exactly how you plan to do the plan or what you're doing or this little inside uncle that you have that gonna give you the, you need to, if you need to do something like that, if your personality is someone that needs reassuring, you need to have bona fide friends that you can trust, that they won't steal your ideas or spill it to a better friend. We always say a friend always have a better friend. You need to make sure that better friend that your friend have is you too.
When do you recognize that it's now time to move away from the side hustle and into becoming a viable business?
I think for me, when I hired my first employee was when it became real, because I always thought like I could do this myself, and then I hired my first employee and I had to take care of somebody else and not just myself, like paying Social Security, NHI, inland revenue, like all these things that you had to do a paycheck, make sure the person had hours. So I think that was when it was real. It got away from having a one-man show to like actually turning into a proper business where people were like, when are you opening? Why are you closed today? Like, sometimes it's easy to be like, I don't feel like going in today. I'm going to close down. I'm not going to make any money. And then people are calling you like, why are you closed today? And it kind of like after a while, people tend to rely on you. Employees tend to rely on you. Bank account tend to rely on you. You have all these things, and I think it's called adulting after a while. But those are some main key characteristics that you've known. You've made it into the big leagues is when you have people relying on you essentially to provide a service as well as pay them.
This was at the Rotary Club of Tortola Entrepreneurs Economic Development Forum on Tuesday, November 8, 2022. Among the live audience were Junior Minister for Trade and Economic Development, Honorable Shireen Flax Charles, and the prominent businessman, Mr. Michael Thomas, among others. For this JTV News Update, Kathy Richards.
We know that where you choose to bank matters, and it is your vote on what your funds do in strengthening our community. As your official Bank of Paradise, we invest and support the lifeblood of our economy by helping in the realization of personal goals for homeownership, education, and entrepreneurial visions, which support small businesses. We make it our place to connect with persons and worthy causes, and we have been doing so for more than 30 years. Where your money goes and what your dollars empower are your choice. And we thank you for choosing us, a bank that gives where it matters the most, for you, for our community, and a happier tomorrow. The National Bank of the Virgin Islands.